listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh, glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. As usual, we have a great show planned for you. This is Wednesday, August the 3rd. Let me get my days right. August the 21st. I was going to say 31st. We're not there yet. We have a few days left of August still. Man, the summer is just flying by, and I don't know where it's gone, but it's definitely almost on its way out. Time flies when you're having fun, and if only we could just keep a hold of summer for a little longer. But it is what it is. We're going to be heading into the fall soon, and enjoy it while we got it, right? Okay, there's still a few days left, and the weather is favorable, so let's enjoy that as well. We'll talk about weather in a little while, but first we're letting you know that we're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. We're streaming live at cklu.ca online. And you just click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can listen to us as you stream us. You can also download the same Radio Player Canada app, take us with you, listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Also, other great programming from CKLU. Check it out online. The schedule is there. And while you're there, pick up some merch and support the station, or if you're able to, and you have the funds and you like what CKLU does, just drop us some support, some financial support. You just click on the donate button, and we really appreciate that. We're your campus and community radio station. We've been around since 1984, and if it wasn't for people like you, we would not be on the air, and so it's because of your support. So thank you very much for that, and we're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow the page and the channel. Mainly comment. We'll do our best to read your comments for those listening, and for those watching, get your comments up on the screen. If I'm not able to get to all the comments, which is usually the case by halfway through the show, just as we're getting into news headlines and picking, just unpacking things, we will do our best just to get the comments up on the screen, and the shows are found on demand afterwards. So if you miss a show, you can catch us on Facebook and YouTube, also on twitter.com/Sudbury News, Sudbury.news, which is Sudbury's news aggregator, which we'll take the headlines from because it aggregates CBC, CTV, Sudbury Star, Sudbury.com, all into one web page. All of the headlines come up on there, and then you click on it and you can read the full story on the news provider's website. So they get the eyeballs, they get the revenue, and it's there to support local news. That's what we're here to do. We are not a main news outlet. We discuss the news. This is Sudbury News and Views, Sudbury News Talk. We talk about the news. We're not reading off a teleprompter with journalists who are paid to go out and get stories. That's not what we do. They go out and get the stories, and then we sift through the stories of the day and pick out a few that we can discuss and unpack, and people make comments on them, and we kind of try to make sense of this community that we live in, and a lot of times the broader world we live in as well. So not only our city, our province, our region, country, world, and it's your conversation on your station, which is Sudbury News Talk. It's going to be a great show, like I said earlier. Stick around. We'll start off with a little bit of weather. We'll be back with news headlines and a great discussion today. As usual, one of the main headlines we'll talk about is the suspect was, I guess, arrested, who was found to put white paint on the Pride mural downtown. So we'll unpack that and discuss that a little bit further, and maybe get a little bit of clarity on our society and what's going on, and possibly a Jim Carrey skit that goes along with it, if we can still have humor these days and look at things through a humorous lens. If that's possible, we'd like to explore that a little bit later, because it can be an overly heated topic. And sometimes you just need to laugh at some things to get a step back and look at things again. And so we'll do that if we can later in the show. But anyways, let's kick it off with some weather. We'll be back right after this. Stick around. Sudbury weather brought to you by Duck Check. They do duct cleaning right, and they'll do industrial, residential, commercial, wherever you have ducks, they'll clean them. Currently it is 7 degrees. It's partly cloudy. Sunny today, becoming a mix of sun and cloud near noon. The wind is moderate. High of 22 today, UV index 6 or high. Tonight, clearing this evening with a low of 10. Thursday, sunny, high of 25, UV index 6 or high. Again, sunny and 25 tomorrow. It looks like a beautiful day. And then just in time for the weekend, 40% chance of showers on Friday with a high of 23. Same thing for Saturday, and then a mix of sun and cloud on Sunday, high of 28. Same thing for Monday and Tuesday. So carbon copy days on the weekend, and then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, high of 28, mix of sun and cloud. A look at your satellite here, and it's mainly clear with some clouds just over Sudbury and Timmins, it looks like, but they might have been rolled out by now. This was taken at 5:30 a.m. So there's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by Duck Check. Visit them online at duckcheck.com, ductcheck.com. Give them a call at 705-918-4848. Ask for Steve. Let them know that we sent you, and you'll get a discount off your next duct cleaning and inspection, whether it be for your residence, your industrial location, or your commercial location. And they're the experts that you can trust, and they got the equipment and the know-how. And again, let them know that we sent you. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by Duck Check. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, we're back. We got quite a few people yesterday. I don't know what it was, if it was the algorithm, maybe things we say. I have no idea how this is affected at all, but we had, it was like the old days when we had the same amount of people on, just under 30 people for most of the show. And that's the way it was before Facebook somehow, remember, went down for a day almost. And when it came back up, after that, we were lucky if we had 15 viewers a day. So it cut them in half somehow. I'm not sure how that happened, but it did. So, again, one of life's mysteries, I guess. Joining us first this morning, as usual on YouTube, is Nana. Good morning, with a heart emoji. Blessings, everyone. Blessings to you as well, Nana. And Judy, good morning on Facebook. Marianne, good morning, everyone. From Barry, liked and shared as usual. Jerome, good, beautiful Sudbury morning with the emoji with the shades, one of my favorite ones. My daughters think it's cringeworthy, they say. That's their term, not mine. But anyways, I still like it, and so does Monique. Good morning, Sudbury sunshine emoji and the shade smiley emoji. Vin, morning to you. Maurice, good morning, smiley emoji. Thanks for joining us. And Liette from Collingwood. Good morning, Sudbury from Collingwood. You got the peace sign there. Much appreciated. Along with Chris. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you as well, Chris. And David, good morning. Take care. Stay safe. Same to you, David. And Peter, haven't seen you on the show for a while, but good morning to you. And there was a $70 million winner, I guess, from last night's lottery. One winner. Are you saying it was you, Peter? No, I know it's probably not, but whoever it is $70 million richer today. Incredible. And Mike, good morning to you. Thanks for being with us this morning, and thanks for the being the guest on Friday's show. There was a lot of people who were very thankful that you came on and were very transparent with your answers to their questions. Thank you very much for that. We're looking forward to the next time you're on. And Monique, grand rising with exclamation points. Sunshine emoji, heart emoji. Feeling the positivity today, for sure. And good morning, Miles. Thanks for being with us. Hope you're having a good morning. Denise, blessings, everyone. Marianne, censorship at its finest. Yes. Well, that's when, Facebook went down and it came back up and we had half the viewers, but now we're right back up to where we were before, blackout, if you will, on Facebook. So it's good to see that. And Brian, good morning. Patriots, good morning to you, Brian. Yes, we need to set up that call sometime soon about the web hosting and maybe some other things soon. I believe this is Denise, I believe the cyber wars were started. Everything electrical with switches, we are at risk, and that is 100% true. They talk about going cashless in our society, and I was just at the grocery store. They had a power outage here in Northern Ontario, as you know. Some of you were affected a couple days ago, Sunday. And Monday, the debit machines were down at the grocery store for most of the day. So people are going, filling up their carts. They get to the checkout. We're only accepting cash, right? So this is something that happens, will happen, and they talk about cashless. How are they going to, how are they going to get over that hump when there's power outages? It's the more we rely on technology, the more we are beholden to that, and we become susceptible. Something we need to give a lot more thought to. Debbie, good morning to you. Sunshine emoji. Thanks for being on, Debbie. Marianne says, I believe you are correct. Yes, I believe it too. Denise says, I spent 2 years talking to young men in the East. In 2013, they called themselves angels. That's what their parents told them. They're here to die for the world. I believe some of them are here in our country and in the U.S. Angels. Okay, so I believe you're speaking of a certain religious group that feel that they could be destined to die for their cause, is what I'm thinking. And many of them have been deemed terrorist organizations or whatever, or part of them, or someone who's willing to do that is interesting, right? So you saw what they did in the States. They went in and looted all the stores, and very soon there'll be no food coming and going. Yes, we're going to be talking about the strike that's looming, the rail strike, which I don't think many people are giving enough attention to as to what that would entail. But CFIB has a story here. We'll look at that momentarily. It's all test runs. If people always had cash on them, cash is king. Digital currency is control and slavery to those in charge. That's Marianne. Will the rail yard workers strike? Yes, that's the question. So let's go. We have this story here on Sudbury.news. We're just going to find it here. So Sudbury Star's headline on it is strike or lockout would close down via rails Sudbury run to White River. I think that's the least of our concerns, but that's Sudbury Star's headline there. Canadian Pacific Kansas City Ltd. could be headed to a labor dispute this week. We're going to get, there's some news on safe consumption sites and what the province is planning on doing there. So we'll get to that hopefully very soon. Get to the story about the Pride mural and the person who was apprehended for putting the white paint on the mural downtown. We have stories from CBC, Sudbury.com, CTV on that story. we'll play the CTV story first on that when we get to it. So here you go. So railway, we'll just share the screen here. This is coming from Sudbury.news from Sudbury.com. Railway shutdown would be devastating for small businesses, according to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. A potential work stoppage in Canada for the two major railways this week would harm small companies, from mom and pop shops to outfits with scores of workers, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business says. Right? So you click on it, goes to Sudbury.com, just like I was saying earlier. Very big advertisements come up. So it goes on to say a potential work stoppage this week could harm small companies. Any disruptions to railway operations could be devastating for small businesses, their employees, and communities. Jasmine Guinette, the group's head of national affairs, said in a release, that's the CFIB. Many small businesses rely on rail services to send and receive goods, products, and essential materials. The longer work stoppages go on, the costlier it becomes for small firms who may lose sales and contracts if goods are not delivered or received on time. Now, we don't realize how vulnerable our supply chain is at all. You were saying, Nancy, good morning, by the way. I was in Sudbury Mall yesterday, and some stores in the mall did not accept cash anymore. So electronics go down. This is going to get crazy. Oh, I didn't realize that. So some stores just aren't accepting cash, period. So yeah, so we're vulnerable there. We're vulnerable with our supply chain. So there's two Achilles heels here, so to speak, just in our society. So a phased shutdown of the networks at Canadian National Railway and Canadian Pacific Kansas City Railway is already underway as the clock ticks down on negotiations with the union representing 9,300 engineers, conductors, and yard workers. Both companies have issued lockout notices, while the Teamsters Canada Rail Conference has also threatened to strike. This is a two-edged sword here. A full-fledged halt to rail traffic is set to begin 1 minute past midnight on Thursday morning. So does that mean tonight? Well, you know what I mean, like after midnight, right? Unless the parties can agree to a deal on new contracts or a binding arbitration following months of near deadlock around wages and scheduling. The two companies move roughly $1 billion worth of goods per day, right? $1 billion worth of goods per day. Like, it's like one glitch in our distribution system causes a rift. Now, we've seen it during the pandemic, what it did to the economy. I warned of that. I warned of what everyone was talking about, locking everything down, shutting everything down, flattening this and flattening that for 2 weeks. I said, we're going to do more harm to the economy than we're going to do with this thing that's out there. And I was right. And I have the recording to prove that's what I said. The day they said we're going to go into 2 weeks of shutting things down. The day of. It was my last radio show I did for Sudbury Sports Talk, which that was my first and only show I did until after the pandemic for Sudbury News Talk. Because I said, I'm going to switch to news, and it'll include sports, but I'll switch to news. And I did one show, and then that's what it was. They made the announcement, we're going to be shutting everything down. Couldn't go in the radio station, to do any more shows after that. I think it was 2-year hiatus until we came back with Sudbury News Talk. But anyways, the two companies move roughly $1 billion worth of goods per day, ranging from wheat to timber, oil and consumer products. Well, you name it, it goes on rail, according to the Railway Association of Canada. On Monday, the Labour Minister, Stephen McKinnon, stressed that the parties must hammer out a deal before the deadline rather than relying on federal intervention, such as back-to-work legislation. Now, we heard Jagmeet Singh, have a press conference, and he said in no way, Jose, will he support back to work legislation. And we know what that means. It means then Justin Trudeau won't be able to do it because they're co-leading the country, right? And Jagmeet can get his way. So he in no wise supports back to work legislation because he's mainly supporting workers in this case, right? He didn't support workers when they were forced to get an experimental drug back in the day. He didn't support them then, but he's supporting them now, right? He supports them for some things. And many workers were fired, and he didn't bat an eye on that before. But he's supporting the workers now. No back to work legislation, which means there's more than likely an imminent strike coming as of midnight tonight, it looks like. And just to let everyone know, we have 27 viewers currently on Facebook, so it looks like we're back on track after, I don't know, was it like 5 months ago that we had this Facebook glitch? So welcome if you're new. Thanks for being here. We're just talking about the looming rail strike from Pacific and Canadian Pacific. And the Canadian National Railway. So they move 1 billion in goods per day. Jagmeet Singh told reporters he would not support the back to work legislation. Meanwhile, shipping giant Maersk, is that how you call it, the name, has halted all Canada-bound shipments that involve rail transport. So it's already started. So this giant shipping company has stopped all Canada-bound shipments that involve rail transports and cargo weight beyond what trucks can carry. It's a Danish company. They said in a customer notice on Monday. CN, after barring container imports from the U.S. partner railroads on Friday, plans to stop loading any of the 40,000 containers it hauls each week. So it's already stopping. Either way, we're going to have a hiccup, even if they go back to work, and you'll notice it. A ban on all new cargo pickups at Canadian Pacific is coming Tuesday morning this week. So that's already happened. The moves follow a halt on dangerous materials at both railways, as well as shipments that need cooler temperatures, such as meat and medicine. So just think, if you really need to stay alive via medicine, it's a life or death situation for you and you need medicine, well, they've just stopped the shipment of medicines that need to be cooled in their transportation. And good morning, Pat. Thanks for being with us. So this isn't small time stuff here. This is pretty big stuff. For now, the 6,500 rail cars that carry bulk grain across the country each week are still rolling. So at least there's grain. There's not a lot of other stuff. Bruce Burrows, CEO of the Chamber of Marine Commerce, said about 27% of waterborne freight hauled through Quebec and Ontario relies on CN and CP Kansas City. So now it's CPKC is the acronym. And good morning, Bingo. I hope you're having a good morning. And again, I love the handle. Thanks for being with us. So here you go. Some people are already starting to reroute, looking at the U.S. port rail option as an alternative. They said in a phone interview, a work stoppage on Canada's Class 1 railways effectively breaks the supply chain for Canadians and for many people around the world. Ports are poised to see containers pile up on their docks if the impasse drags on. With ripple effects of the staged rail shutdown already being felt, the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority said It's instructed ships en route to the country's largest port to adjust their arrival times by slowing down to prevent further congestion. So this is a nightmare for distribution, the distribution chain, the supply chain. Again, we don't understand this stuff enough to really know how important this is. Including 90% of exports, he said. The port expects disruptions to shipments of containers of grain, potash, coal, and other key goods. At the Port of Montreal, about 45% of the freight passing through moves along CN or CP tracks. Again, it's a huge thing. The Montreal Port Authority intends to redouble its efforts to allow more trucks to use its terminals, but it is certain that certain markets served from Montreal will face major challenges, notably Ontario and the Greater Toronto Area, said the spokesman for that port. 60% of container shipments through the port of Halifax travel by rail. Their spokesperson said Canadian gateways have already seen a reduction of volumes due to the uncertainty around rail operations. So this is the thing, right? A lot of these companies, they know there's even a possibility of this strike, and so they're slowing down their shipments. They're trying to maybe go through other channels and whatever, but it ain't coming here. I'll guarantee you that. Anything that's going to be shipped on our soil, if this strike goes ahead, even if it doesn't, like I said, it's still going to be felt. But if it does go ahead, it'll be felt even more, and you will know. And Linda, good morning to you from Emerald Lake Camp, River Valley. Thanks for being here with us, Linda. Much appreciated. Thanks for being on. So yeah, now to check in with some of the other headlines here. Sudbury .news website, our local news aggregator. Sudbury.com has a few stories to start your day. You can check them out. Here's CBC's talking about the rail stoppage as well. So all the major news outlets have a story on them. You can just click on all of them if you want to gain as much insight as possible. Maybe some of them cover things the other ones didn't. Canada's assisted dying law faces constitutional fight for excluding mental disorder. We talked about this at length on the show, and we know that there's people that are just salivating to get the age lowered where they can allow people to take advantage of doctor-assisted suicide, medical assistance in dying. And a man who says, that's coming from Sudbury.com, a man who says he suffers from chronic and worsening mental health issues is among those launching a court challenge of the federal government's assisted dying law, which excludes people suffering solely from a mental disorder. And we know why they put a hold on that, because the age was lowered, and that was frightening. Sherry Lynn, good morning to you. Thanks for being with us. So your teenager, for instance, could go to the doctor and say, I'm going through some stuff. I just broke up with my significant other. I'm really depressed. I don't think I'll ever come out of this. I've got so much anxiety. And they could be offered MAID. And in the state of whatever, of grief or whatever, they could choose to do it. And I think that's harmful to our society, for sure. But the way that the other side are positioning it is we're excluding them. We're being like exclusionary by not including everyone in this thing. Well, then it'll be, well, what about the 3-year-olds that, you don't want to exclude small children from this. No one wants to be excluded. It's just a tactic. I was about to go to law school to become a lawyer, and this is that kind of thing when you're making an argument and you want to persuade somebody I think it's a dangerous road to be on, that whole thing. And we talked about on the show the type of drug they used, a paralytic, to perform this operation on people. It paralyzes you, first of all, and then they administer the drug to actually cause you to perish, right? But the way the way you perish is you drown in your own fluids, and so you're suffering. But because you're paralyzed, that's the first drug they give you. You can't say anything. You can't say, okay, I changed my mind. I'm in pain. I'm in discomfort. I'm suffering now, because you're paralyzed. And really, it's worse than waterboarding. So that's the actual fact of the matter, something we're not talking about in Canada. And I wish the news would pick that story up and talk about it a little bit more. But no, you know why they won't? Because it'll cause disruption in this whatever overall agenda that a huge faction have to push forward this MAID agenda. And I know Billy, who's on the show many times, he agrees with me. He likes the idea that there is a solution for people who want to take that option. I don't think he agrees with the medicines they use, the paralytic, and then the other one that causes you to drown in your own fluids. I don't think he agrees with that. He does agree with the idea that it should be there for people who want to choose it if it's done in a humane way, which I don't. So we don't agree on that, which is, again, it shows that these things aren't cut and dry, that we all have our own opinions on them. And it's near and dear to our hearts. Many of our family members are going through things or have been affected by it, or we have friends that have chosen to do it, and we have our own feelings on it. But when it's done on a mass scale and it's a policy of a government, and then the medical system adopts it. You know, I was watching a documentary on Germany in the 1940s, late 30s and 40s, and they got the medical system to go along with a lot of heinous things. But the medical system went right along with it. We look at it now and go, how could they have done that? Well, I think history repeats itself, and we need to check ourselves a little bit here. Sudbury Apple Festival happening in September. Sudbury, the home of festivals for sure. That gives us something to do, so that's good. We got a lot of things we can do in Sudbury. So we're getting into some of the stories here that I wanted to hit on. So here we go. Charges laid for defacing Pride crosswalk. We'll get to that in a second. Ford government to close 10 supervised consumption sites and ban new ones in favor of hub model. Experts say the move will lead to more deaths, more public drug use. So I love this. So again, let's look at this headline from an academic point of view. Like if I was in school and we're going to look at this, which I was in school for this. So, but they usually looked at it with a biased lens, and maybe I'll get to that or not. So Ford government to close 10 supervised consumption sites, ban new ones in favor of hub model, right? So let's say this particular news outlet or this reporter was in favor of it. They might say, experts say the move will help a majority of the population with their addictions. You know, that would be the subheadline, right? But no, it's experts say the move will lead to more deaths, more public drug use. So someone who just reads headlines would go, oh yeah, no, safe consumption sites are good. Why are they closing them? And it's going to lead to more deaths. That's all that they leave it at, right? What if there were experts that said the opposite, though, too, which there are. There's experts who say the opposite. But you can get away with saying many Canadians say, ... Experts say, you know, this is leading journalism. And again, even local journalism is susceptible to it. So Jack Hahn He's the reporter here. So the article appeared in the Trillium, which is Village Media's website devoted to Ontario politics. So Ontario will shutter 10 consumption treatment sites and ban future ones in a move some experts say, again, right? So now you read into it and it says some experts say, but the sub-headline was experts say, right? So if you look up here in the headline and the sub-headline, experts say the move will lead to more deaths. So if you just leave it at that, but then you go down and you read it, and it says the move that some experts say will lead to more deaths. So that's a little more credible, more truthful, that some experts would say that. Now, are they going to talk about the experts that say the opposite? I would, having not read this article, think not. I don't think that they'll show that other experts are saying this and give it the same, the same light of day. Sites within 200 meters of schools, and that's the reason why they're saying they're closing them, is that they're too close to things that they shouldn't be, like schools and daycares and playgrounds and things. Sites within 200 meters of a school or child care center will have to close or transform into a homelessness and addiction recovery treatment hub. Okay, now whether it's going to do that or not, I like the name. I like the idea rather than safe consumption. I don't know about y'all. Homelessness and addiction recovery treatment hub. So if it is what it says, I think I'm in favor of that. So good on it. Now, how it's going to, I don't know enough about what their plans are with what they're actually going to do with these things, but the idea of recovery, I'm all for. That's what the health minister, Sylvia Jones, told a crowd of mayors, councillors, and city and town staff at the Association of Municipalities in Ottawa on Tuesday. The hubs will add up to 375 highly supportive housing units. Ooh, wow. The hubs will add up to 375 highly supportive housing units, according to a government release, and aim to connect people to services including mental health treatment, primary care, employment help, and other supports. They won't offer safe supply programs, supervised consumption, or needle exchange programs, the government said. So again, this is a battle of ideologies here that you see going on, and I just hope that this particular program can get out and be tried and see how it compares with the results of the other one in enough time before an election, let's say, so that way we can compare what's going on. And what's an expert anyway, Jerome says. Exactly. Yeah, let's see these experts. What are their qualifications, right? The government is putting $378 million towards creating 19 heart hubs. Applications from current CTS sites slated to close will be prioritized. So the safe consumption sites that we have, they'll be prioritized to transform into a recovery center instead. In the fall, the government plans to also ban municipalities from participating in the federal safe supply program and from requesting the feds to decriminalize drugs in their cities, as Toronto has done. I got to say yay for that one. Hey, there's little victories going on, even though there's a lot of other things going on. The following CTS sites will have to shut down by March 31st, 2025, all except the Kensington Market location, which are funded by the province. So they give a list of all the ones that are slated to shut down. Ontario will be left with 9 consumption and treatment sites, including 1 in each of the Kingston, London, Peterborough, St. Catharines, 2 in Ottawa, 3 in Toronto, where there will be none in Northern Ontario. Jones cited concerns about crime in her speech. Parents are worried about the discarded needles that their children could pick up. Some parents no longer feel comfortable sending their children to the local elementary schools or have pulled them out of their local daycare due to this. So there's none in Northern Ontario. Now, I know I've heard a lot of the Northern Ontario politicians having a problem. This article goes really deep here. This is long. So you want to go and read it, it's Sudbury.com, and just remember to read it with your, and if there's something that doesn't ring true to you, go and research it and whatever. But again, I heard some Northern Ontario politicians talking about that they don't have a good relationship with Queen's Park and they don't seem to get things. I'm not sure the reason for that, but again, here we don't have anything in Northern Ontario. Maybe they were told that this is rolling out and you want to get your application in and they're like, no, we want harm reduction. We don't want rehabilitation. We're not going down your road. I don't know if that's what they do, or they're like, no, here's our application. We want to have something here that's going to help people. And then they just don't give it to them. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. I just know that there's relationships and there's things that we're missing out on because of partisan politics, and that's got to go because people are the ones who are suffering, right? Anyways, it is what it is. It's complicated. Politics is complicated. The world is complicated. And this is complicated. And we're going to end our show with a complicated news story from Sudbury. And this is from CTV.
Police have charged a 59-year-old man with mischief after a pride flag was vandalized earlier this month in downtown Sudbury. Surveillance cameras captured video of an individual throwing a can of white paint on the Rainbow Crosswalk on Minto Street, just steps away from the police station. The suspect was identified by a community member after police released the images. Investigators believe the August 3rd incident was motivated by hate or bias.
So I apologize for the sound being so low on that, but they apprehended a person in regards to the pride flag having white paint on it downtown. And thanks to CTV for that story. Charges laid for defacing Pride's crosswalk. Police in Sudbury have charged a 59-year-old man with mischief after the Pride sidewalk in the city was vandalized. They mentioned the fact that it could have been deemed as a hate crime, which I just take exception to any of these new terminologies of hate crimes and things like that, where I wanted to compare it to, there's been 33 churches that's been burnt down in less than 2 years across the country. And I read a CBC article on that. It was an exhaustive one about, are they going to deem the people that burnt down these churches as hate crimes? And they didn't. They actually said, well, there's good reason why they would be motivated to burn down the churches, right? And even though some of them, there's only 9 of them that are caught out of the 33, something like that. And they're going through the court system, but none of them are being touted as hate crimes. Even though, well, why would you burn down a church? You know what I mean? What would motivate that? So again, there's some hypocritical things going on in our legal systems and in our media and in our politics that you got to call a spade a spade. And I think some people, like myself, I'm not hateful. I'm not a homophobe. I'm not a transphobe. I'm no phobe. I love everybody the same. Everybody needs exactly the same chance. But I also say nobody needs preferential treatment either. Like, you don't need preferential treatment, which I believe certain movements do get. Hence, your own flag on city property made by the city by tax dollars. It's preferential treatment. You don't see other flags down there. Oh, the Bridge of Nations, for sure. They're nations. They have flags. But Pride is not a nation. It's a movement. And it gets preferential treatment. So can we all just agree on that? Either whatever side of it you're on, there is preferential treatment. There are international days that have something to do with Pride that are almost every single day of the year. That to me is preferential treatment. There's a Pride Month that we celebrate. Christmas is one day. New Year's is one day. Remembrance Day is one day. That's preferential treatment. I'm not saying it's a terrible thing. I'm just saying it is what it is. Let's just call it what it is. So then after this in Sudbury, after Pride Month, we have Pride Week. Okay, wow. So we have a month and a week. Members of my family, close members of my family, are part of the gay community. They don't feel part of the Pride movement. They are actually very much opposed to the preferential treatment that movement gets. So there's no leader of Pride. There's like a leader of a nation that you can go to and negotiate things. Like it's just this elusive thing that's going on that's political. And we don't know the real reasons, but it's very, very loud and proud, I guess. See? And I'm having fun with it because I want to be able to speak to everybody here, in a spirit of real love, that we're all on the same page, that we all actually love each other the same. Nobody gets loved more than another person, right? Why are you going to love someone more? That's what this movement kind of says. We love you more than someone else. When all you're saying is you want equal rights, you're saying that, but it comes out where you want more attention, more holidays, more celebrations, more parades, more exposure than anyone else. And okay, then some people will go, I don't really agree with that. I don't, which I don't either. Now, am I going to go throw paint on something and deface something? What's the difference between throwing paint on that and putting graffiti on a city-owned edifice? You're defacing the city. City puts something up to beautify the city, and you go around putting your tag on it and graffiti it. That's a hateful thing too. I mean, really, let's just talk about that. Are they arrested and told that they're full of hate and whatever? Maybe they don't agree with that monument that went up with their tax dollars, and they're showing. What about all these monuments of these historical figures that have been taken down recently and stuff? Were those hate crimes? Did they hate the patriarchy or colonialism? Do they hate that? And are they showing their hate to public edifices? You know what I mean? Let's just talk about this stuff. You can't talk about it anymore. I'm not talking about it in a hateful way, but again, let's even look at it in a fun way. There's a skit from Jim Carrey he did when he was on in Living Color, and it's many years before it became political in any way, shape, or form. But it really does show a little bit of the attention that it needs. It's interesting, but he encapsulates it in a person, and in a way that only Jim Carrey can do. So just in the spirit of just love and humor, I just want to make this point through a comedy sketch that Jim Carrey, fellow Canadian, did many years ago. Check it out.
Hi.
Hi.
Is this line for heterosexuals only?
No.
Good, because I'm gay.
All right. Yeah. No.
Is this line all gay?
No, it isn't.
What a shame. If we were both gay, we could be going at it right here.
Miss, can I get my food, please? Can I get my food?
Two consenting adults with their groins on fire. Nothing wrong with that. Nursery!
What can I do for you, sir?
Well, sexually, nothing. You see, you're a woman, and I, being gay, am attracted only to men.
Are you going to order something?
Oh, I get it. The fruitcake is holding up the line.
No, it's not that, sir. I just have to get my...
No biggie. You're just frightened of something you don't understand. Now, let's see. I think the combo meal would satisfy a homosexual's taste buds, and I am a homosexual, so I'll have that.
What combo meal for the homosexual man?
This is great. Attention, please. Attention. I am gay. Repeat, I am very gay. Just go about your business normally, as heterosexuals.
Okay, sir, that'll be $5.67, please.
Wow. It's a good thing gay men work. Thank you, on behalf of all homosexuals. Do you mind if I sit here? I'm gay, you know.
Yeah, sure, whatever, man.
You're probably wondering what it's like to be gay.
Nah.
Well, I'll tell you. It's not so bad. The hours are good. That's a gay man's joke. But seriously, it's fan-double-tastic being gay. Would you like to hear me sing? I have children's. You know why?
Oh, let me guess, you're gay?
That's right. I'm as gay can be. I'm a limp wristed fruitcake. I'm a stubble rubber. Look at me, I'm funny. Let's do the homosexual blindfold test. All right. Hey! I prefer this one.
Hey, pal.
Oh!
That was the vibrating palm.
There's a gay man down near table 2. A gay man down near table 2. Mouth.
Hey! Wait a second. That's odd. My manhood is completely engorged. Perhaps I should rethink this whole homosexual thing. By the way, what's your name?
Bert, and I'm really a man.
No wonder! You see, I'm gay, and gay men have terrific intuition. Hey, let's go have a drink. I know a bar called the Pile Driver. You might be interested. Shall we go? Excuse me, everyone. Gay people coming through.
And again, right? It's from what, the 90s? And I don't know, just showing a little bit of if his character wanted everybody to know that what his sexual preference was, and everyone was fine. Like, it's fine. You could be whatever you want. But he needed that attention. He needed to be, the center. He needed to just let everyone know. And there's just something in there, if you just watch it, that is indicative of this movement. It needs you to know it's there. It needs to be the center of attention. It needs all the preferential treatments. And it's if we can look at it in a comedic way, and non-hateful, it's okay already. We're good. Everyone's loving each other and we're fine. Let's move on. Let's move on, everyone, to the next phase. The next phase of just acceptance and love and understanding, and we're good. Everyone's good. It doesn't need to be promoted, for one. Like, it doesn't. Why do you need to promote a sexual preference? I don't go promoting mine. Like, it's not a need that I have. I don't understand the need to promote it. Right? But for some reason, it's become political. And now the political people that are in charge will punish you if you don't want to go along with it. Now imagine the restaurant owner made everybody in there acknowledge this person, do have special privileges for that person. He gets his food free. Everyone needs to call him certain things, or they're not allowed in the restaurant. You know what I mean? You could go on with the skit and make parallels to what we're facing in our society. You know what I'm saying? love everyone, treat everyone with respect, and everybody get along. Let's understand our differences and choose to disagree if we need to, but don't force someone else to have to believe what you believe or do the same things you do. It never works. That's your show for today. Appreciate you being on. We'll be on tomorrow with Chief Midiga, more than likely. We'll have a special guest who will be able to talk about all things Indigenous. He's very prominent in the Indigenous community in North America, and we're glad that we can have him on tomorrow to talk about real stuff. So hopefully he'll be on tomorrow. Looks like 99% chance. And look forward to having him on and answering any of the questions you might have. So we'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Stay safe. Take care. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.